Now it's time for Joke of the Week with me, Pastor Paul. You forget things, right? It's easy to forget things. It reminds me of a story. An old married couple began to realize their memory was not what it had once been. And they started to forget many things. And they were worried that it might prove to be dangerous. What if they left the stove on and left the house and set the place on fire? So they decided they would go and they would visit with their doctor to try to get some help. And the doctor told them that this was not unusual, that as people age, many people begin to forget things, and they will write little notes to themselves to help them remember. And the couple thought this was a really good idea. And so they left the doctor's office, and they were pleased with that advice. And when they got home, the wife said to her husband, she said, "My darling, would you please go to the kitchen and get me a dish of ice cream?" And he said, "Absolutely." She said, "Be sure and write that down. I don't want you to forget." And he said, "Well, that's ridiculous." He goes, "I could remember a dish of ice cream." And she said, "But dear, I would also like to have some strawberries on top of the ice cream. Why don't you write yourself a note so you don't forget?" He's like, he goes, "Ice cream and strawberries." I got it. She goes, "Well," she said, "I'd also like to have some whipped cream on top of that. So be sure and write yourself." He said, "Ice cream, strawberries, and whipped cream. It's not that hard. I think I can remember it." And he left the room and he shut the door. And then on the other side of the door, she heard him in the kitchen. And she heard the rattling of pots and the rattling of pans. And it didn't sound like it had anything to do with getting ice cream. And about 15 minutes later, he walked back into the room and he walked over to his wife and he handed her a big plate of bacon and eggs. And she looked at the plate and she looked up at her husband and she said, "Where's the toast?" Pastor Paul here. Hey, thanks for coming and checking out the Joke of the Week. Come back next week and I'll have another really terrible joke for you. I want to encourage you to check out our website, sanpedropc.org. Also, click on the link and subscribe to our videos. I'll see you next week with a really bad joke.